gentlemen, I'm your host SinDragonLord, and this is week number 8 of the Global Pokemon Society Draft League Season 11. And your boys, the Phoenix Primals, are going against the SimiwinniSears. So we're looking at Cinderace, Kyurem, Diancie, Annihilate, Ogerpon, Darkrai, Pikachu, Flygon, Berserker, and Smeargle. So right off the bat, your boys got Annihilate. We've seen a couple of matches from Simi before, and Annihilate has gone absolutely ham in those matches. I've also proven in past seasons the kind of damage that Annihilate can do, so we're not sleeping on that by any stretch of the imagination. We are preparing for that. Flygon also probably is honestly probably a bigger MVP for him than the Annihilate, though, just because of the amount of work that's done. And it can Terra, but he tends to go with a bulkier Dragon Dance setup Flygon with Terra Electric. So that's what I'm kind of anticipating. And then we've seen him use Darkrai with Blunder Policy. He'll use Hypnosis, and either one, he'll land the Hypnosis, and it'll put the Pokemon to sleep, or it'll fail, and his speed will double. So it's high reward and not so high risk, to be honest. I mean, yeah, you'll take a hit while getting that Blunder Policy off, but I mean, unless you were one-hit KOing the Mon in question, you were going to be taking a hit regardless. So I guess it's one way to eliminate the high-risk portion of that equation. I can see him bringing Kyurem, because it will get a defense boost in the snow that I will be trying to set up, so I can see that happening. If I had to take a wild guess here, he brings the same stuff normally. There's only one variation or one variable. But if I had to guess, he's going to bring Cinderace because it'll deter me from setting up screens and hazards with court change. And then, of course, Fire is pretty good into my team regardless. Kyurem, Diancie, Annihilate, Ogerpon. And I'm going to assume the Flygon, I don't know if he wants to bring the Darkrai into me. But I can definitely see Diancie coming in, just because that rock coverage will also be pretty good. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get into the team that we'll be bringing. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, so first things first, we got Titan. We always have a wonky set for this. So for this, we got max attack. We got 132 in defense. Most of his offense is on the physical side, and his special attackers are Kyurem. That's mainly it, I think. Darkrai too. But outside of that, most of his offense is physical, and I want to take full advantage of the snow buff. We got 80 in special defense, and we got 40 in speed. The reason for the 40 in speed is basically it'll outpace Darkrai in the snow without a scarf. We can't outpace Darkrai in the snow with a scarf, I believe, unless we try doing Jolly, which I don't want to do. Just because I don't want to have to rely on Belly Drum to get good damage. So we're going Terra Fairy just because the Ice and Fairy coverage seems to be solid into his team. The only thing that resists both is Cinderace. Well, without Terastallization anyway. The only thing that resists is Cinderace. And Cinderace is going down to a Belly Drum boosted whatever anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's it for that. Next we got the Grimmsnarl, which is which is actually going to be pretty spicy this week. We actually have a special attacking Grimmsnarl. So the reason for me going special attacking this week is because I wanted to threaten the Annihilate, just in case this Titan falls through for whatever reason. I wanted to have a backup, and with a special attacking Grimmsnarl, we don't have to worry about waiting bulk up wars. We don't have to worry about using Spirit Break, which is going to trigger his Defiant and make him stronger. And that also gives us the opportunity to not have to run Drain Punch for recover. We have Draining Kiss for recovery, which gets Stab. And Dazzling Gleam after a Nasty Plot is a guaranteed to hit KO on the Annihilate. So there's that as well. Nothing too fancy with the EV spread, just modest max special attack, max HP. Basically just a tank, special tank. And then there's Thunderwave, because the idea behind the Thunderwave is, one, it sets up Hex for the Skeledirge, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But it also will help me out with my speed tiers for things like the Cinderace and things like that. Or it'll force out a Rest on the Annihilate, which will still allow Skeledirge to get max damage on the Hex regardless. Next we have Donphan, standard custom set, but we are deciding to go with Ice Spinner instead of Endeavor, just because I want to have something to hit the Flygon. That's basically it. Because with this, Flygon switch is just going to ruin our day, and it's basically a free Dragon Dance for him. So if I can maybe predict the Flygon switch, I can hit it with the Ice Spinner on the switch, and then bare minimum, even if it survives, because he does like to run it kind of bulky, even if it survives somehow, it'll be low enough, and the Citrus Spare will already be progged, so I'll be able to pick it off with other things. Next we have Ninetales. Sorry, that's the spread from last week. There we go. That's what we want this week. So we're just going max on our speed and offenses this week. We don't really need the bulk. I am hesitant to set up screens while a Cinderace is still, in the back and kicking, just because they can swap the screens to their side, and that is going to ruin me. I was tempted to go Specs, but when I did the damage, Specs modest Ninetales does not KO Annihilate with Moonblast, so I just figured it wasn't really worth it in that particular exchange to do that. So why we're doing what we're doing. Next we got Skeledirge, very standard set with Will-O-Wisp, Hex, Torch Song, and Slack Off. Because I know that he's on Rest Annihilate most of the time, Resto Chesto. But if we can bait out, if we can force out the Rest, or if we can status him in another way, shape, or form, Hex is going to be doing massive damage. So, and if we get, even if we get a Torch Song boost up, that's even better. And as long as we are not hitting the Annihilate, we can, we're basically, Rage Fist isn't going to be doing a whole lot as long as I'm not hitting him, because the bulk ups aren't going to matter at all because of Unaware. So we can Willow, we can Slack Off, and then once we get him into a position where the Chesto is burned and we have him burned or asleep because of Rest, then we can just start firing off Hexes, and it's going to be a really good situation for us. So yeah, that's the reason for that. And then finally, we have the Galarian Slowking. Nothing really special to say about that. Just pretty standard. Max special attack, or excuse me, max special defense and max HP. Just to set up the snow, basically. It's bulky enough that nothing should really threaten a KO on it regardless. Even if he brings in the Flygon, I think Earthquake unboosted is like a 56 to 66% range, I believe. So yeah, without any further ado, let's just get in the battle portion right out now. All right, welcome to the battle portion. We got a Slowking and a Ogerpon lead, and we see a U-turn into the Darkrai, and the Galarian Slowking is just going to go for a Chilly Reception, try to set up that snow. We go into Titan. Basically, like I said in the team analysis, barring a Sash or anything like that, the Titan should just be good to clean up, to be honest with you. But if I predict the Darkrai to have the Sash, which is why I don't go for the Belly Drum right away, I wanted to see if I wanted to scout for the Sash, and if it wasn't, then I think a Terra Blast would still take it out regardless. But I go into Croc and Roll here to take the Ice Beam from the QRM, and I was hoping that I'd be able to live a Draco Meteor, but that's just not the case. So QRM does take out the Skeledirge with a Draco. Here comes the Ninetales. And I'll be honest with you, I was thinking that maybe he put Flash Cannon on there, so I wanted to lock him in the Draco Meteor, but he made the smart choice and decided just to swap out. So I sort of had a little bit of a blunder here, a little bit of a brain fart, because I set up rocks in the face of a Cinderace, knowing that it can just court change them into my side of the field. So yeah, and then we have the very most useless Custap Berry in history right there, because I would much rather had the Rapid Spin go off there than Custap triggering there. So the one time that Custap has failed me this season, unfortunate, but it is what it is. So now we got the Darkrai coming in again. We go for the Chilly Reception. And at this point, we go straight back into the Titan. And at this point, I think we could just kind of hit the fuck it button. Yeah, we go for straight for the Belly Drum. If he's got the Sash, I'll know about it. But if he doesn't, then we just sweep. He goes for the Hypnosis, which triggers his Blunder policy. But we do have that Ice Shark priority, so as long as he doesn't have a Sash, it will take it out. No Sash. No Sash there. So the Darkrai goes down. In comes the Cinderace. And this is pretty much game over. Unless he has a Sash. That's all I'm waiting for. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop to show a Sash. We know for a fact the Ogerpon does not have a Sash, so that's going down to an Ice Spinner. Excuse me. Next comes in the Flygon, the bulky Flygon that we've seen numerous times before, going for the Terra Electric, hoping that it's got enough bulk to survive. It does not. It goes down to an Ice Spinner. Then here comes, I believe, QREM. And we all know that Annihilape's not going to have the Focus Sash. There's just no reason for it to. It's plenty bulky. It's probably not going down to one hit regardless. Unless, of course, we're talking about a Belly Drum boosted Terra Fairy Terra Blast, in which case it will go down in one shot. And that is a Titan sweep for game one. Let's go ahead and get into game number two. All right, game number two. We have the same exact lead of Ogerpon and Slowking. Go for an IG Cudgel, gets a crit, but it's not enough to take me out, thankfully, because now we're able to get up a Chilly Reception. And now that we've seen that there's absolutely no Sashes on the other side of the field, we're just good to basically have a repeat of last game. We get up the Belly Drum. We know that an Ivy Cudgel will not be able to take us out because we have the Snow buff, and our HP is massive, and we do have defensive investment in this Titan as well, as I've already shown. So now the Ogerpon will go down to an Ice Spinner, and like I said, everything gets one-shotted by this at this point. I do go for the Terra Fairy here, just in case he decides to go for Sucker Punch. I didn't want any shenanigans there. I wanted the easy resist. And it's not like Terra Fairying at this point is going to hurt me with the mons that are left in the back. So we go for a Terra Blast into Kyurem. That'll easily take it out. And then, yeah, that's basically all she wrote. So Titan got his pound of flesh in today. Absolutely destroying. And that's what happens. If Titan just is allowed to do what it does, is it will just absolutely cause absolute mayhem, absolute carnage, which is exactly what has happened today. So I want to thank you guys so much. Please stay tuned for more week 8 matches, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace out, y'all.